Well, look who's next to me, David Menzies. He led our coverage in Ottawa. We had a huge team down there. We're going to get to David in about a second, but I just can't wait. I want to show you a video that David and Isabel filmed. It's about 2 minutes long. You really have to watch every second of it, and it really starts to get good about 20 seconds before the end. I have watched this video 3 or 4 times. I just checked a moment ago. It had about 750,000 views in like a day and a half. You'll see why. Take a look.
If you're going to protest something as nebulous as freedom, then you can't encroach on others.
I'm not sure I understand. Is nebulous as freedom?
The concept of a nebulous freedom. They don't have a specific title, a specific reason for being here. They're all over the place, and all they're doing is suppressing Ottawa residents, Ottawa businesses. We are being harassed and held hostage for their supposed encroachments on freedom. What does a single fucking white man have to say to anybody about a bodily autonomy freedoms?
I'm not sure what race has to do with it.
I didn't say anything about race.
You said a white man.
Single white man, sure, race.
Okay, so I mean, what does race have to do with it? When I look at people that are gathering here today, it's right across the multi-diverse spectrum.
No more comments.
Oh, okay then. Well, by the way, when it says convoy go home, didn't the convoy go home in February?
They called it a convoy? It's a convoy.
You mean this gathering here, is that a convoy?
Please go away.
Okay then.
No more comments.
All right. But
no more comments.
It just seems to
no more comments.
Okay.
No more comments.
You can't articulate.
No more comments.
Wow.
No more comments.
Have I triggered you?
No more comments. No more comments. No more comments. No more comments.
It's like interviewing a
no
Coke
more
machine
comments.
when your soda doesn't come
no
out.
No more comments.
She just.
No more comments. No more comments.
It's like a.
No more comments.
A fembot.
No more comments.
And you think
no
that
more comments.
Somebody is going
no
to
more
go
comments.
on a corner.
Walk away. No more comments. Back away. No more comments. No more comments.
Why do I have to
No more comments. No more comments. No more comments. No more comments.
What do you do for a living?
No more comments.
I'm now interviewing a side.
That's just unbelievable. I don't know what happened there at the end. It's like a record skipping or just some computer loop, like some error loop or something. That was unusual. I don't want to cast aspersions on people of a Wiccan background because I don't need an HR complaint or a human rights complaint. But I think she's wearing a witch's hat.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw it, Ezra. In fact, one of the funniest comments I saw in the Twitter feed was somebody going, "Oh, come on, guys, cut her some slack. You'd be aggravated, too, if a house had just fallen on your sister," right? So, I mean, I love our viewers, the witticisms that have come out from that. But it was bizarre because, Ezra, if you are on a street corner opposite of a celebration, a gathering, because I know the Rolling Thunder, they don't like to put the word protest in their event, and you have a sign and you have an amplification device with music and you're dancing and you're dressed up like Halloween, I assume you want media people to come and ask you what you're doing. And then once we got into the gooey subject of race, that began the malfunction.
Yeah. You know, and that's the thing is she's not a private person just walking by the street. If she was, we wouldn't have any reason to engage with her. But she went there as a counter-protester with a public sign, and she actually didn't stop talking to you. In fact, as you noticed, she just wouldn't cork it. In fact, it was very strange. And I'm not really making fun of her appearance. I mean, choosing a hat is not a personal attribute. It's just a choice. I think it really was a Halloween-style costume. What I've known over the last 2 years is that protesters for freedom, protesters against forced vaccines, protesters against lockdowns, if you say to them, what do you stand for? Get ready for half an hour's worth of detail, references to websites and experts. Like they'll talk your ear off because they really want to tell you what they're upset. This lady couldn't answer the most basic questions you had and then went into this childish defensive mechanism. I don't even know what she was trying to do, if she was just trying to drown you out or if it was just words that felt good, so she kept repeating them while she thought of something smarter to say. And I know it's just one little anecdote, and you can't extrapolate from it, but I think it shows the difference between freedom protesters who I think have really thought through why they're there versus this lady who I think was just out for a hoot and to wear her Halloween costume again.
You know, you're 100% right, Ezra. I mean, I don't think I've ever taken part in demonstrations. I've covered hundreds of them, I would say. But if I was going to demonstrate on a street corner and bring a sign and what have you, I would do a little research and rehearsal before going, the day before. What if somebody asked me a question about this? What if they challenge me on what my sign says? I would come armed. I'd have a lot of arrows in my quiver to say, oh, no, that's not right. Here's why you're wrong and I'm right. But she just starts drowning me out. I'm telling you. And what lungs on that woman? I mean, if I'm the manager of the Canadian Opera Company, that was her yelling at full blast. I could maybe do that for 3 or 4 yells, and then I'm croaking. Yeah. But she went on and far beyond where the video ends, Ezra.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
You know what? We're having some fun just because it was such a quirky video. But there was actually some serious things. I mean, I showed a moment ago that there were eggs pelting people. There was a church that was defaced. Yep. I should say that none of these things happened during the trucker protest. No. There was not a single charge, let alone conviction of anyone for violence. No firearms of any sort were found. The lockdown or the blockage of the city streets was done by police.
Yep.
Here you have counter-protesters throwing eggs. And an egg's probably not going to kill you, but that's, you try throwing an egg at a cop and see if you get away with it. Yeah. So they were throwing eggs, they were vandalizing a church, and no emergencies act there, no riot police there, no media, calling out fascists there. It just shows none of this is about actual law and order. Mm-hmm. None of it is about violent versus peaceful protests. It is 100% about Black Lives Matter protests are fine. Yep. I don't know more protests are fine. Antifa protests are fine. Yep. But you conservatives, you get out of the protest game. That's our turf.
I think it's even worse than you're depicting it, Ezra. I liken it to the movie of almost 20 years ago, Minority Report with Tom Cruise, where it's a dystopian future where the police have a pre-crimes unit. They get their intelligence from psychics, and they think, you know what, sir, we have really good psychic intelligence that we think you're going to kill your wife. You're charged with first-degree murder. You're convicted, and you're put away for life. The only flaw, of course, is that the intelligence is not 100% accurate. I am saying that if you own a motorcycle and it is insured and you have a driver's license, there is no valid reason to prevent you from going down in your motorcycle, circling the war memorial, laying a wreath. Let's be honest. Law enforcement knew that was the case. The bureaucrats know it's the case. Justin Trudeau knows that it's the case. This was not going to be a convoy 2.0. There weren't going to be people lining up their motorcycles. And I might add, Ezra, a lot of people might not know this, but Wellington Avenue, for, I would say, 1.5 kilometers where Parliament Hill is still closed with concrete barriers.
And that's the police, obviously. It's not protesters.
It's Ottawa City Council.
Yeah. City Council.
It is closed at least until the end of the year, and it might be closed forever. That's what they're debating. But based on this one protest that ideologically Justin Trudeau disagreed with. It was grotesque at the Capital City Bikers Church because what they did there, Ezra, like they did in downtown Ottawa, was that for a few blocks all around the church, they put up signs, the police. It said special event. I guess the special event was curtailing your rights and freedoms.
That was an excerpt from my daily TV-style show called The Ezra Levant Show. Each weekday, I do a monologue on the news of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest. I read some fan mail or hate mail, depends on which I like more. And we end with a video of the day. You can get it all at rebelnewsplus.com.